Welcome to the In Love with PMDD podcast. I am your host, Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist. Before you ask what PMDD is, it is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. And if you're listening to this podcast, maybe you have PMDD or your partner has PMDD. It doesn't matter. I work with both individuals. And what I do is I give you my strategic trauma transformational tools that help you stop the monthly PMDD breakups, get rid of the stress, the arguing, and the fighting within your luteal phase and every other phase of your cycle. You are not alone in this. I have personally been suffering with premenstrual dysphoric disorder for over 19 years, and I'm here to give you tools on how to stop the monthly PMDD breakups. We got this. I love you. Today, we're going to be talking all about freedom in your PMDD relationship. And the reason why is because it is July here in the USA, and this is Freedom Month. And I really wanted to hone down on what freedom means from PMDD because I know that premenstrual dysphoric disorder can make you feel trapped. And one of my core words that I always have as a goal for myself and for my clients is to feel freedom. And I know a lot of times the partners can feel trapped because they feel trapped in this cyclical environment that they can't control. They don't know what to do. And then the individuals with PMDD feel trapped. And so what I want to do and what I want to provide for you are tools for you to have freedom in your PMDD relationship. So it doesn't have to feel like this cyclical trap that you're forced to be in every single month where you're not knowing what to do. You're not knowing how to handle things and you're feeling like you want to have those PMDD monthly breakups. And so I wanted to talk to you about what is required for you to have freedom in your PMDD relationship? Because I have been in relationships where I have not had freedom, where I felt completely stuck, where I felt like it was making my PMDD symptoms worse, where I felt like I just was going through the motions every single month and nothing was changing. And I talked to my partner about it. Like I was able to come out of what I was going through in my luteal phase and talk to my partner, and he felt the same way. He was walking on eggshells. Before I've had past partners that have felt like that. And I said, I don't want to create a PMDD prison as a relationship. I am an Enneagram 7. I'm a Sagittarius. One of my core values is freedom. And so I think one of the things that had me going to the PMDD monthly breakups early in my journey is that I felt like I didn't want my partner to feel stuck. I didn't want them to be stuck with me. I didn't want them to be stuck with PMDD. I was almost thinking about the other person and saying, maybe they would just be better off without me. Maybe they should be with someone who didn't have premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It would be so much easier for them. And what I ended up doing was developing tools where if I want to be able to be in relationships, be in actual happy relationships, not relationships that you have to be in, just relationships that you genuinely enjoy, I developed these tools to allow me to do so while having premenstrual dysphoric disorder. Because I think so many times we're on our journeys, we're thinking like, oh, I need to get rid of PMDD and then I'm going to be in a relationship. Well, you can be in a relationship, have PMDD and still feel free in your relationship, still be able to be yourself. And so one of the mistakes that I made earlier in my journey, and I'm going to really share that with you, is when I was choosing a partner to be with, I wasn't choosing a PMDD partner. I was just choosing a partner. And a lot of times I chose my partner when I was in my good days, when I was in my follicular phase, when I was in my ovulation phase, and I was feeling great and I was feeling amazing. I was choosing who is going to be compatible for me when I'm feeling good, because that was the time that I was wanting to be in a relationship. I didn't realize until later on, almost 10 years later, that I needed to choose a PMDD partner that was compatible for who I was in all phases of my cycle, including my luteal phase. But most specifically, if you were compatible with me in my luteal phase, we can pretty much work out everything else, right? Because we all know that the luteal phase is the hardest part. When we're experiencing PMDD, is the hardest part of being in a relationship. Everything else seems like a cakewalk. Like when I have disagreements with my partner in my ovulation phase and my follicular phase, it seems like nothing compared to when I have arguments in my luteal phase. So I said, I need to find a person that is compatible to me when I'm in that phase. But the first part of that is recognizing, how am I in that phase? What is it that I need when I'm in my luteal phase? And this is why I'm getting to this thing about freedom. I felt so restrained, so stuck, so stifled in my luteal phase because I was always having all of these questions about, whether I was good enough, whether I was doing things for them. Like, I'm a recovering people pleaser. I'm always trying to make sure that my partner is good. And a lot of times, what that resulted in was abandoning what it is that I needed for the result of being what it is that they needed. And I thought that I was doing a good thing. But in reality, over time, if you abandon yourself so much in a relationship, and by abandon, I mean you forget about how you're feeling and you're only thinking about how the other person is feeling. Eventually, you're going to get bitter. You're going to get resentful because you're going to start to feel like, what about me? How many times have you been in a relationship where you literally thought, I've given so much, I've done so much, but what about me? Who's thinking about me? And it's not in a narcissistic way. It's not in a selfish way. It's in, I deplete myself for everyone else that I care about, that I love, that I'm in a relationship with, that I'm intimate with. But then when it comes to me, I'm in those moments where I'm suffering in silence, where I'm figuring out how to patch myself up, where I'm figuring out how to fill myself up when I feel depleted, even though I'm in a relationship. And so over time, you get resentful and you start to ask yourself the question, what is the point of me being in a relationship with someone if I always have to meet my own needs? I probably could just be by myself. I probably could do it easier by myself. And that's when you start to look into the breakups, because you start looking outside of being with that person because you're feeling so much pressure of meeting your needs and your partner's needs, and no one else is kind of meeting each other in the middle. Like, your partner's not thinking about you and you're not thinking about how I can, make up for all of the things that I'm giving of myself in order to pour back into me. Like, you start to neglect yourself. You're like, oh, I'll be okay. I haven't gotten affection in a while, but you know that your body and your mind is telling you that you need affection. But you're like, no, 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 I'll be okay. But then when it comes to them, you're giving them whatever it is that they need. And a thing that I really want you to understand, you and your partner are going to need different things at different times. So a lot of times the mistake that is made is you're giving your partner things that you need instead of really studying them, seeing them to understand, what do they need in any given moment. And the only way you can do this is to really have a level of intimacy. And what I mean by intimacy is you're studying your partner. I will always, always, always tell you, you need to study your partner. You need to know their patterns, and you don't need to get complacent, because what your partner needed in one season may not be what they need right now. So this is why when I work with my private clients, we're not just going off of one framework, like, okay, this is what worked for you during this time, and just do this and just go on repeat. Because what happens is, when you have premenstrual dysphoric disorder, or you're in a PMDD relationship, any issues that you have with your partner, PMDD is going to rip the blanket off of them and expose them. And if you're not in a place where you're really in tune with what's going on with your partner, you're not going to know what's going on. You're going to automatically think that you're not compatible because you're always arguing, you're always fighting. You're always arguing and you're always fighting because you're pointing your efforts at places that are not really what your person needs. And so the first mistake that happens is you stop being open with your partner about what it is that you really need, in fear of, number one, that maybe they won't meet your needs, or number two, maybe you're asking too much. For the individual that has PMDD, you may be thinking, I don't want to ask my partner specifically for what I need, because what if that's too much? And what if they can't do it? And all of these other things. And for the partner that doesn't have PMDD, you're probably thinking, I'm watching my partner suffer with PMDD every single month. Why should I even bring up what's going on with me? It would be selfish of me to bring up that, like, hey, babe, I know you have this sensitivity to noise. I know you're overstimulated and maybe you want some time to yourself, but I really need some affection right now. I need some attention right now. There's three things that you always need in a relationship. And if you do not ask for them, you're going to get bitter and resentful for not getting them. That is affection, attention, and validation. Those are the three things that you are going to desire if you're in an intimate relationship. But if you're in a place where you're not open enough, where you're not safe enough, right? You're not safe enough to just be open and say, I need some attention right now. I need some validation right now. I need some affection right now. And again, use your own words in how you're asking for it, but at least you're asking for it. So you're putting your partner on alert to say, okay, this is what they're needing in any given moment. Because what happens is when you don't ask for what it is that you need in a relationship and you pretend like you're okay when you're not really okay, your partner's not going to meet your needs. They're going to be going about their days feeling like everything's great, everything's fine. And then one day they're going to get so fed up and they're going to say, this is not working for me. We're not compatible. Maybe we shouldn't be together, all of these things. And you're going to think it came out of nowhere, but it didn't come out of nowhere. It came out of not speaking up and saying what it is and not feeling free enough to say what it is that you genuinely need. So I really had to go back and think about all of the times where I didn't say what I really needed in a relationship and what was the reason why. And I did this with my clients. What is the reason why? The reason why is a fear. You're fearing that your partner is going to think that you're too much. You're feeling like, I don't want to bring this up because they'll get upset, or I need to tone down my personality because I'm too much, or I can't be excited because they're in a bad mood, or maybe I should hide my PMDD symptoms, because they don't like it when I'm in my luteal phase, or I need to fix them before I can enjoy myself. These are all of the thoughts that are going on in your mind where you're really neglecting who you are in the relationship for the sake of the other person. And you think that you're doing a good thing, but it's never a good thing because it's not sustainable. The reason I say it's not sustainable because you can't do that forever. Eventually, even if you wanted to, your mind and your body is not going to allow you to continue to neglect yourself when it's something that it needs, right? If you're in an intimate relationship, you're going to desire affection at some point. And to say that you're not is unrealistic. So if you notice that the level of affection that your partner is giving you is not to the level that meets your needs, instead of just settling for the breadcrumbs that they're giving you or whatever it is that they're giving you, ask for more in a way where you're being open and honest. And it's not like, hey, you're being demanding about it, but you're giving them some insight that there's something that I'm missing at this moment that I really need in this intimate relationship, because how else would they know? Unless they are so in tune where they recognize the shift. And there are some partners that do this. I actually have a partner that does this, that is so in tune with me that they know if my mood shifts, if my vibe shifts, like, wait a minute, something's going on. But the expectation that everybody's going to have that skill, everybody's going to have that ability is unrealistic, right? I know that I have for once in my life, chosen a relationship that allows me to have the freedom to be me while having PMDD. And what I mean by that is there was a time earlier in my relationship where I wanted to go back into I'm a recovering people pleaser. So I wanted to go into, okay, I'm like this when I'm single. And then when I'm in a relationship, I'm like this. So I study. I teach you and I do what it is that I teach you because I know that it works. I know what works and I know what doesn't work because I've done both. And I start to study my partner and I'm like, okay, they like this. They don't like this. They don't like this. And so I start to tailor what I'm doing, how I'm moving, how I'm shifting, my personality, all of these things to my partner to make sure that whatever they need, that it's aligned. And I'm finally with an individual that doesn't allow me to abandon myself and say, no, 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 no. I don't want you to be what it is that you think that I need. I want you to be yourself. I love who you are, and who you are is very different from who I am, but stay like that. Don't become like me, and I don't have to become like you. Like, there's a level of freedom when you're recognizing that you don't have to be identical to your partner. You know that phrase, opposites attract? I don't believe that opposites automatically attract. I believe that you learn to embrace the qualities in your partner that are different from yours, and you start to look at them as a benefit instead of a burden. I'm going to say that again. You start to look at the differences that you have with your PMDD partner as a benefit instead of a burden. What that means is if you're a person that's really all over the place and you're a creative, I'm a creative. So a lot of creators are all over the place, right? So what do you need? I remember, oh my gosh, and I just remembered this. So remember earlier in my journey when I went through my divorce, I ended up hiring a dating coach. And he was like, we have really similar personalities and we're all over the place. We're so creative. We have all of these ideas. And he was saying, I just really needed to be with somebody that grounds me. And I remember thinking about that. And I was just like, I wouldn't want that. Like, I don't want somebody to ground me. I want somebody that's going to bippity bop all around the world with me and be in the same vibe as me, because then we'll never have any conflict. We'll never have any disagreements really like that, because we're both wanting the same thing. What I didn't realize is when you have two people that are doing the same thing, there's nobody that grounds you. Like there has to be some level of reality that's like, wait a minute, you want to go off, you want to go on all these vacations. What about your budget? What about the hotel? Like, what about the security around the hotel? What about like someone that's paying attention to all of the things that I probably wouldn't pay attention to? And I ended up getting into a relationship with someone that naturally does that. And that's so important, because when you find a person to be with, when you have PMDD, it's best to find someone that naturally has the qualities that you need, that you may not even know that you need, versus, oh, I feel like I need this quality, and forcing your partner to be that way, or getting upset with them because they're not that way. So one of the things that I noticed in the dating realm with my partner was, he's very hyper vigilant about our surroundings, very much looking around, scanning the environment. What about this? Did you read the reviews on this? Did you do this? Very detail oriented, very, very logistical mindset. And I'm very creative mindset. Like I have a more creative mindset. He has a more logical mindset. And I could look at that two different ways. I could look at that as a burden, or I could look at that as a blessing and a benefit. So the burden side, which will happen in your PMDD realm when you're in your luteal phases, they're always asking all these questions. They always want all these details. They always want this and this and this, until you get into an environment that is potentially unsafe, and then you don't have anyone that's going to protect you. Right? So what I did was reframe, okay, this is very different from me. He's very different from me. He said it the other day, like we are the exact opposites. Like however I am, he's the opposite. And I remember I used to think that that was like, wow, we really, when you go into a relationship, a lot of times you tend to look for the similarities, but you actually need to look for the differences in a way that complements you. Again, if you have PMDD when you're in your luteal phase. Because when I'm in my luteal phase and I'm feeling overwhelmed, I actually desire someone that can take the lead for me in times and places where I don't have the energy. Not because I don't want to have the energy, not that I don't desire to have the energy, but because I genuinely don't have it. When I have a level of fatigue, I've always been, I've been a single mom for so long. Like my daughter's 16, she'll be 17 this year. I'm so used to being a single mom that when I got into my luteal phase, I would push myself to where I would make my PMDD symptoms worse. But I felt like that was the norm. This is what I have to do. And now I have a partner that's like, you know what, baby, like you need to, he says Rome isn't built in a day. Like you don't need to do all of this. You need to slow down. You need to rest. And I'm just like, I'm used to trying to grind so much that I a lot of times forget about myself. I abandon myself. I neglect what I really need. And earlier in my journey, if I was in my luteal phase, I would pretend. I remember this. I did this with my ex-husband. I pretended like I wasn't in my luteal phase when I really was, because I knew that when I got into my luteal phase, it triggered him. And so I would go into my luteal phase and be like, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. I was totally in that realm of toxic positivity, because I felt like that was the only way that our relationship was going to work, is if I was in a place of abandoning myself, pretending like I didn't have PMDD. And I remember that 1 month that I did that, we were fine. We were great. And I was like, and I was so happy until I realized I'm going to have to keep this up. I can't keep this up. And that's what happens when you abandon yourself. You neglect how you really feel. You pretend that you're one way, but you're really another. You begin to freak out because you understand I can do this for maybe 1 month, two at max, but there's no way that PMDD is going to allow me to keep stuffing down how I really feel. And then you're going to start to think, if I have to pretend like I'm a different version of myself in order to be in this relationship, maybe we're not compatible. Maybe we shouldn't be in this relationship. That's when you go into the PMDD monthly breakups instead of really recognizing, hey, I need to be myself. I need to be able to be myself. And by be yourself, I do not mean be verbally or physically abusive. A lot of times you all are taking my words out of context and be like, you need to take me as I am. This is not church. Okay? This is a relationship. What I mean by that is PMDD is not your responsibility to project onto your partner. It's not your fault that you have PMDD, but it's your responsibility to manage. Remember that. And I'm going to keep reminding you of that because I feel like sometimes even when you're first finding out that you have PMDD, you're like, oh, this explains my mood. This explains why I went off on my PMDD partner. This is why I have this anger and my rage every month. So now that I have this explanation, I don't have to change. No, 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 no. It's almost like once you have that level of self-awareness, you do have to change because now you know what the issue is and now you can go get help for that. This is something that I'm going to help you with in this month of July. I have a freedom cell because I want you to feel free while having PMDD. So my freedom cell is going to take off a percentage of my private sessions because it's going to take $50 off of my private sessions. You're going to be able to go to my website, put in the code FREEDOM and get $50 off. I don't want you to have an excuse not to get help in your PMDD relationship. So I want you to feel as free as I now do, as my private clients do, because we now are developing tools because everything that I do is customized. This is why I thrive off of my private sessions that I have with you because I want to really know what's going on in your PMDD relationship. Could I create a course that's a one size fits all and say, this is for PMDD relationships? Yes, but would it address the individual issues and the trauma that you've experienced from all of your past fights and arguments? Would it help you address those and move forward and have individual tools? No, it's going to give you blanket information that you're going to have to take and piece together, and hopefully it matches what you're actually going through. What my private sessions do is I get to know you, I get to know your PMDD partner, and then I get to give you tools that actually work for the both of you that you agree on. And I can work with one or both of you individually. I don't have to work with both because I have a lot of clients where one partner is open and one partner is not. But I'm giving you the tools of what you need to do to move forward and not have your last month in PMDD look like your next month. And one of the things that I always say is that you feel free to be going into your PMDD because I feel like so many times when you're about to go into your luteal phase, there's so much, oh my gosh, I'm going to my luteal phase. I'm going to my luteal phase. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? So you're even in your good days and you're having anxiety about going into your luteal phase because you know that there's going to be levels of your PMDD relationship that are going to be impacted and you don't have the tools and you do damage and your partner does damage. And for a lot of you, I don't want you to have to reach rock bottom. I don't want you to have to get to the point where you've almost broken up or you've broken up and you're getting back together and you're saying, this is our last straw. I know a lot of my clients come to me when they get to that point, but I'm giving you the opportunity to get ahead of it, to say, I don't want to wait till I say or do something that I cannot take back. And if you've said and done stuff that you can't take back, take the time to repair that because you cannot heal what you don't reveal. Just saying sorry when you've done something to your PMDD partner, whether you're the partner that has PMDD or doesn't, is not enough. And I feel like I need to really explain that because I think a lot of you are like, I don't understand why my partner's not okay because, I apologize for whatever I did. Yeah, apology doesn't erase the impact. And that's a whole, I will go on a completely different tangent on that. But I want you to feel free to be exactly who you are. There's a reason why when they say marry your best friend. And I think I did a post on this. I know I did a post on this. Um, they say that because you're completely open and vulnerable with your best friend. And I want you to get to a point. It's not saying that you have to marry your best friend or be with your best friend, but I want you to get to a point where you feel the level of openness, intimacy, safety, and vulnerability to say what it is that you really need at any given moment. What is it that's going on in your PMDD brain? Just say it. Because a lot of times you think that you're doing the right thing by holding it in, but you're really doing more damage by not telling your partner what's going on. Because when you have PMDD and you're acting weird, you're acting different, you're acting off, your energy's off, your mood is off, your partner understands it. He knows it. He or she knows it. and they're trying to figure it out, because if you don't tell them, they're going to create a story in their brain as to why you're acting, instead of just being open and saying, I'm feeling like this. I don't know why, probably because my PMDD brain is tricking me again. That's a mantra that I really want you to start using if you have PMDD, because it really helped me and it's helped a lot of my private clients. Literally say this: my PMDD brain is tricking me again. I'm creating something very, very, very special for this that's really going to help you. But in the meantime, that's a phrase that you can use. I'm very big on mantras, because when you're in PMDD, there's so many, you have the brain fog. You don't remember a lot of things. Just know that when you're having the intrusive thoughts, when your mind is spinning, when you're overthinking, when you're feeling paranoid, when you're feeling rejected, even if you don't have the exact words to say to your partner in that moment, you can literally just tell them, my PMDD brain is tricking me again. And they're going to be able to understand, okay, this is not her. It's something going on in her luteal phase, because she has premenstrual dysphoric disorder. She has PMDD, and it's messing with her brain. PMDD really messes with a lot of aspects of your life, but the brain is my wheelhouse. It's my forte. It is my specialty, because out of all of the PMDD symptoms that I experience every single month, the brain is the part that impacts my relationships the most. I can be I can, which has been happening a lot lately, which I'm not a fan of. I've been experiencing a lot of night sweats. I don't experience night sweats and go off on my partner because I have PMDD. I can have a lot of body aches. I don't have body aches, and it makes me want to go off on my partner in PMDD. Whatever's going on in my body, feeling fatigue doesn't make me want to go off on my partner in PMDD. But what goes on in my brain, what goes on in my mind, it traps me, because I'm trying to figure things out, overly intrusive thoughts, overthinking. This is why the majority of my tools have to do with your PMDD brain, because that is the part that impacts relationships the most. Because if you were just the sweetest, nicest, kindest person, and you had fatigue, and you had night sweats, and you had all of those things, your partner would have no problem being the supportive PMDD partner and being there for you, and you probably wouldn't have any conflict. The reason why you have issues with your PMDD partner is because you're going off on them. And the reason why you're having issues with your PMDD partner is because you have these PMDD intrusive thoughts that are telling you stories about your partner that you're not sure if they're true, but they're feeling like they're really true in the moment, and you're behaving as if they're true. That's because you're being affected by your PMDD intrusive thoughts. The reason why you're having issues in your relationship is because your attachment style shifts when you go into your luteal phase. Maybe you're really open, maybe you're really loving, you go into your luteal phase, all of a sudden you pull away. They're disgusting to you. You don't like to hear them breathe. Everything that they do is so loud. You don't want to be around them. That's going to affect your relationship. So the things that I address are the things that are going to impact your relationship specifically. Everything else that has to do with the body and all of those other things, there's so many people that are really in the PMDD community that I have worked with, been on their podcast, and they have so I'm like, one of my closest friends is a yoga teacher, and I worked with her for a while about like, stillness and getting the tenseness out of my traps in my body, like how the PMDD trauma is trapped in my body. I go to people in the PMDD community to help me with specific things that are not relationships. So it's like that phrase where it says it takes a village. I have a lot of my private clients that come to me. They have their own therapist, they have their own counselor for a lot of other things that are going on in their life. But when it comes to PMDD, they come to me. I'm rhyming again, because that is my specialty. PMDD relationships is my specialty. So I don't want you to feel like it's a one-stop shop, like, oh, I'm already working with a therapist. Okay, so if you're working with a marriage and family therapist, if you're working with a counselor, if you're working with someone that's not familiar with PMDD, that's fine. Continue to work with them. I'm going to tell you to continue to work with them, because they're helping you in an arena that is their specialty. PMDD is my specialty. I've had so many counselors, therapists, psychologists, gynecologists refer their patients to me because PMDD is not their specialty. And they're aware of that. And they're in integrity where they're not going to pretend like they know about something that they don't really know about. I always tell you, if you're working with someone with PMDD, they either have to have had PMDD, have PMDD, or work with individuals that have PMDD. My dissertation is on PMDD partners. partners, meaning individuals that are in PMDD relationships, the partner. So I not only help the individual that has PMDD, I help the partner a lot because I took myself out of the equation when I was writing my dissertation and said, what is my partner going through? How are they feeling from being with someone that has PMDD? It's not all about me in PMDD. Rhyming again. It's not all about me. It's not all about you. The ego will make you think, oh, I need to do this and I need to feel better and I need to. That's the ego. Your partner is going through a lot. The first thing is really questioning whether PMDD is really a thing or whether you're just using it as an excuse to be horrible to them. So a lot of times when they're in that place of really thinking about, is PMDD a thing? They're thinking about, is this something that you're making up in order to pretend like you're one way when you're really wanting to be evil to them? And then now you just have an excuse of why you're evil to them, right? It's one of those situations. So we have to work through that. Them feeling like that is not a bad thing. Almost all of the PMDD partners that come to me have to be, they have to have a level of understanding before they can even begin to work on the PMDD relationship. They have to understand, is my partner tricking? You know how I keep saying that your PMDD brain is tricking you? What'll happen is your partner will think that you having PMDD is tricking them. They'll begin to think that you're just using PMDD as an excuse to trick them into treating them how you really want to treat them. They'll think it's a scam. Like they'll literally be like, PMDD is a scam. She just wants to be horrible to me. And if I could curse on this podcast, I would. I would say what I really want to say, but I can't say it because I keep this safe for individuals that are, 13. I have clients that are so young and I don't want them to not be able to listen to this podcast. But what I will say is the basis of freedom, going back. If you feel like you're walking on eggshells as the individual that has PMDD and the individual that doesn't, it's because you're not free to be who you really are. You're not free to say how you really feel because you feel like you're going to get punished for it. Let's just be honest. A lot of partners and individuals that have PMDD there's a lot of fear that they have. I fear my partner's reaction, so therefore I'm going to act like this. And as an Enneagram 7, as a Sagittarius, that is no way to live. I remember out of all of the PMDD tools that I developed, I said, I want to create something to where an individual feels like they can be free while having PMDD. So if you know that this is something that you need help with, go get those client sessions, use the code this month. Use the code FREEDOM on my website, inlovewithpmdd.com, to get that discount, to get those private sessions so we can start working together so you can feel free. Because what happens is when you don't, you're going to feel so resentful that you spend days, months, years being a different version of yourself. And then one day you're going to say, I just want to find myself. And I've been here before where I have gone through PMDD breakups, not the monthly breakups, the final breakups. And I've gone through such a glow up. You can go back. My Instagram is Dr. Rose Vibes, Dr. Rose, and then Vibes, Vibes on Instagram. Go back and look at me. Look at me when I was in my previous PMDD relationship. I had a glow up for the year after the divorce because I finally decided I was going to be myself. It wasn't that my past PMDD partner was a bad person. He just wasn't the person for me in my luteal phase. Can you just really just sit with that? He wasn't the person for me in my luteal phase, not the person overall, not a bad person, not that we weren't compatible. When I got into my luteal phase, the things that I needed in my PMDD partner, the way that I needed to be was causing him suffering. It wasn't fair to him and it wasn't fair to me. I wasn't getting what I needed and he was suffering when I was in my luteal phase. Now I have a relationship where I can go into my luteal phase, do the things that I need to do, and my partner still feels loved, still feels connected. And I've never had that. I've always had to pretend and be like, oh, one of the things that keeps me feeling free while having PMDD is my morning routine. And I talked to my partner the other day, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you have to have your morning routine." And I was like, "Why are you?" I said, "You're the first person that I've ever been with that I haven't had to convince, that I haven't had to hide my morning routine and or kind of alter it a little bit. Like, oh, I don't need to take a full, 90 minutes. Maybe I could just take 10 minutes here and 10 minutes there." And I abandoned myself. I pretended like I didn't need what I really needed in order to be with that person because I knew that it triggered them because maybe they wanted to connect in the morning and all of these things. And he said, "No, no, no. I'm gonna talk to you, interact with you, all the things after you, or I'm gonna make sure that you have your morning routine." You know what he said? Because I didn't like how you treated me when you didn't have your morning routine. And a part of me, like I had like a moment where I paused because I knew that he was very respectful of me having a morning routine. I just didn't know why. Like, I was just like, man, it didn't come automatically. That's what I want to say. Like, the things that you're going to need, you have to work through it. You have to get burned a little bit, right? You touch the stove, you get burned, and then you're like, I don't want to be burned again. And that's literally the mentality. It's a studying, it's a testing. And then once you figure it out, you move forward and you figure it out. That's what we do in our private sessions together. I'm like, what works for you? What works for your partner? We come to an agreement and we move forward. My it's so funny because my bachelor's degree, I'm a paralegal as well. Multiple. Okay, so just a background on me so understand how I develop my tools. Um, my bachelor's degree is in paralegal. I was going to be a lawyer until I went to one of my tort law classes and I was literally arguing on both sides. And my law professor was like, "You're more of a mediator than you are a lawyer because there's no way that you should be defending the other party." That's what I do with my clients. I'm not just defending the individual that has premenstrual dysphoric disorder because I have PMDD, because I've had PMDD for 20 years. I'm defending the partner because I know exactly how they're feeling as well. So that's a skill that's innately within me. A lot of times people are one-sided. They're like, "Oh, I'm all for the person that has PMDD and you just need to do whatever it is that they want you to do and forget how you feel and stuff it down. And if you want to be with them, this is what it's going to take." No, 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 no. I never have an agreement to any tool that I give my clients unless both individuals agree. Again, you don't both have to be on the session, but I will tell you, hey, this is the plan that we have. Go back and talk to your partner about it and let me know if they agree. If they agree, we'll move forward. If they don't, we're going back to the drawing board. We're figuring it out so that nobody has unmet needs. So that was my bachelor's degree. That's where my mindset goes when I'm developing these tools, is very both sides, right? And then I have my master's in human resources. I'm used to working with individuals. I'm used to hearing them talk about their complaints, their grievances, like policies, like things. And I look at a relationship as there's certain policies that are in a relationship. When you develop a relationship, I think it's so important, and maybe I'll do a separate episode on this, looking at your relationship like an organization. Every organization has a mission and a vision statement, and they have policies that they're governed by. And when I'm developing tools, it's the same way. I get to know you. What is the mission of your relationship? What do you really want out of your relationship? Where is it that you both want to go? What is the vision? Where do you see yourself in the future? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to be? What do you want to build? Right? And then there's the policies. The policies are the tools that you are using to get you to the place to where your vision and your mission are in alignment. Meaning, these policies, these tools that we're using are going to help us get to the vision that we have for our relationship. These policies, these tools that we have that we're learning from Dr. Rose are in alignment with our core values, which is your mission for your relationship. We develop all of this on the private sessions. And then when we're moving forward, there's a level of accountability that is there that is unmatched. It's nothing like, you can't counsel yourself when you have premenstrual dysphoric disorder. Trust me, I've tried it. I am the counselor and I've not been able to do it in my own relationship. I've literally had to go to a third party because I have my own emotions. I have my own feelings. I have my own biases about what's going on in the relationship. You need to go get help. You need a third party, because what's going to happen is you're going to agree to something, you're going to do this. And then when you get into the relationship, it's going to be so easy It's going to be so easy for, that's a client, sorry. It's going to be so easy for you to not do the thing if it's just you yourself keeping yourself accountable. If it only has to do with you, then it's easy for you to quit on it. If it's you and your partner and you're having an argument, it's easy for you to say, oh, I'm not going to do that. But when you're coming to these weekly sessions with me, and I just had 2 earlier today, then you're automatically saying, and I say about 4 sessions a day, 4 sessions. And I'm holding them accountable for what it is that they said that they were going to do in accordance with their vision, their mission, the tools that I'm giving you that are specifically designed for premenstrual dysphoric disorder, for PMDD, for the partner that has it, and for the partner that doesn't. I'm keeping you account because a lot of times, because I know when I'm in my emotions, when I'm in my luteal phase, I'm thinking about that. And I want to hire someone who's going to think about that for me. I do the same thing. I have a trainer for when I go to the gym. I don't want to think about the exercises that I'm going to do. If I have to think about it, I'm probably not going to do it, or I'm going to forget it, or I'm going to suck off, or I'm never going to be consistent. I hire individuals that are going to hold me accountable to do the things that I genuinely want done in my life. I have a personal development mentor, right? That's going to hold me accountable to, I'm going to continuously be learning. I'm going to be building myself, pouring into myself. I'm not going to get to the point where I deplete myself so much with my clients or my relationship, and I'm not going to have enough to give to other areas of my life. I have so many levels of accountability. I have a business mentor that I go to and I say, hey, I want to do this. I want to do this. That makes sure that I'm in alignment with what it is that I said that I wanted. So if you're coming to me and you're saying that this is my person, you're saying that you want to be with your PMDD partner, I'm going to hold you accountable. This is what you told me. I'm going to hold you accountable to getting there. If you remove that level of accountability, there's no freedom in that, because then you're just going to be flailing all over the place. I've had so many clients that have worked with me. They've stopped working with me. And then when they stop, because they're like, oh, we're doing good. We're doing so great. We don't need you anymore. We're fine. And I say, hey, I really suggest that you have at least 1 session a month. If we're meeting weekly and you want to pull back, at least have a session a month so we can make sure you're good. By the time they come back, it's months later and we're repairing all of the damage of things that they've stuffed down, pretended that didn't matter. I'm not going to let you do that when you're working with me privately, because I'm going to hold you accountable in the most loving way possible, in the most understanding way possible, understanding the partner and understanding the individual that has PMDD. I'm able to do both, because when I did my study, my dissertation on partners, I was able to tap into, I know what the partner is going through. I know what they're saying that they're not really saying. So when I say a lot of things on our private sessions, if you're my private client, you can attest to this. I'm saying things and you're like, yes, Dr. Rose, that's what I was thinking. That's how I feel. I just didn't want to say it to my partner. I didn't think that they could receive it. I thought that they were going to be mad at me. It needs to be exposed, because guess what? That's how you really feel. And if you keep operating in a way that is masking how you really feel, you're going to become resentful. You're going to mask it. You're not going to be the authentic version. And the next thing you know, your partner's going to be in a relationship with someone that they don't really know. That's what ended up happening at the end of a lot of my relationships. I was like, I don't even recognize myself. It took me almost a full year. It took me a little bit over a year to come home to who I really was. And I will never, never, never lose this version of myself again. I've done it. I've been there. I've masked it. I've pretended. It's not sustainable. If it was sustainable, I would probably still be doing it. But at some point, I got burnt out. And PMDD will make you get burnt out and make you feel that the only reason that you're abandoning yourself is because of your PMDD partner, when really it's you. You make the choice to not be yourself. You make the choice to pretend that things don't matter that really matter to you. And you have to take responsibility of that, because I did. And it was a hard pill to swallow, because it's easy to blame your partner. I can't be myself around them. We're just not compatible. Why aren't you being yourself? What is it that you're so scared that your partner's going to do if you really just decide, you know what, I'm just going to be myself. I'm in my luteal phase. I'm not feeling it today. Because every month in your luteal phase is going to look different. What you did in 1 month may not work in another month. So that's another reason why you need to have those weekly sessions with me, because I can have a complete plan for you that works this month, in the month of July and August, because life happens. Situation, holiday seasons come up, holiday seasons go away. Things happen with family members. Things happen with, like, I just finished working with clients that are going into this 4th of July holiday, and they're all needing to be equipped with the tools of how do we make it through this? Because I want to have a good time. It's summertime in the US, and I want to have a good time, and I want to enjoy myself, and I don't want to have another vacation where I waste thousands, hundreds of dollars just to be arguing and fighting and not having a good time and let this be just another traumatic memory. Do you know how many vacations I've gone on and had so many traumatic events happen in PMDD because I wasn't using any of my tools before I developed them? Like I was just like, I was in the most beautiful places, paid $1 billion. You know, that's always my phrase. When it's a lot of money, you'll hear me say $1 billion. I spent so much money and I had so many good intentions and then got there and it was like hell. You might as well put me in hell. I might as well been on vacation with Lucifer himself because in my mind, I was going through it, going through it, even though everything around me looked like it should all be fine. It should be totally fine. It wasn't, because I wasn't staying grounded in who I really am. Who are you? How do you really feel in any given moment? What do you really need? Do you feel like you could really just tell your partner that? If you could pick up the phone right now and say, this is how I feel, this is what I need, without controlling the other person, without saying that, oh, you better do this for me, you got to do this for me. They don't have to do. I did a post on that earlier about entitlement. Your partner doesn't owe you anything, FYI. And a lot of times when you get into PMDD, there's this level of ego and entitlement. If you're my partner, then you need to do this, this, and this. If you start your phrase with, if you're my partner, you need to do this, then that means that you're operating in the realm of entitlement. They don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. This is a choice. No one forces you into a PMDD relationship. And I think there's a misconception. When you're feeling trapped, when you're feeling like you can't be yourself, who is holding you in this relationship? And this is not giving you a way of breaking up. It's a way of saying, if you want to be free, no one's stopping you. If you are in a place where you feel like, I'm so scared to be myself that I'm just going to continue to pretend for the rest of my life or for the rest of the time that I'm with my person, then you know that you need to get help, because you're not able to be open and honest. And those unmet needs that you have are just piling up. Those traumatic events, those traumatic comments, those things that they're saying, those things that they're doing, piling up on top of each other. They're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere until you address them, until you deal with them, until you say, enough is enough. I'm not going to abandon myself. I'm not going to pretend that I am happy when I'm not happy. I'm not going to pretend that I'm content when I'm not content. I'm not going to pretend like I'm safe in this relationship when I'm walking on eggshells. I am tired of walking on eggshells. I want freedom. I want freedom to just be me. What happens is when you're free in your relationship, you end up giving your partner a lot of the things that they've been begging you for. And I said this earlier on a session. You can go months and months and years begging your partner to give you something, and they say, I can't do it. I can't do it. But then all of a sudden they feel free. They feel emotionally safe. And then they just naturally give it to you. And wouldn't you rather naturally get it from your PMDD partner versus forcing them and having to remind them, hey, do this. Hey, I need this. Hey, I need that. Like that. For me, I wouldn't even want it. If I have to beg you for it, if I have to plead, if I have to throw a fit, if I have to throw a tantrum, if I have to go off on PMDD rage in order for you to do what it is that I feel that I desire and deserve, then I don't want it. I want you to be free to be who you are and let how you treat me and how you interact within this relationship to be natural and organic, because you genuinely love me, like me, care about me, want to be around me. If I say, oh, I want to spend time with you, I don't want to spend time with you because I demanded that you spend time with me. I want you to spend time with me because you genuinely want to spend time with me. Because if you had a choice, ask yourself this question. If you gave your partner the choice to do the thing that you're asking them to do, because I'm pretty sure there's one thing that you're really wanting your partner to do. If you gave them a choice, what would they choose? If you say, hey, I really want you to do da 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 da, would they choose to do it? Or would they try to find their way out of it? Oh, I'm busy. Oh, I can't. Or would you end up being like those people that I see that are out and about and they're there, but they're not really there? They're not connected. They're not happy. They're not loving. They're not intimate. They're just going through the motions for the sake of it. You see them take the picture, cheese, and then go back to frowning, and they're just like in their own little world of misery. There's nothing like suffering in silence and I know this because when you come on private sessions with me, I hear about the suffering that you've had in silence. So if you know that you want to have literal PMDD freedom, you want to be in a PMDD relationship where you're no longer walking on eggshells, where you're free to just be every version of yourself, be open and honest. This is who I am. This is what I'm working on. I'm not saying I have to be perfect, but I desire to be with you because I enjoy being with you. And you miss that part about being in the relationship where you're starting to even ask yourself, well, I don't even know why I'm in this relationship. It's not fun. I'm not enjoying myself. I'm not feeling loved. I'm not getting my needs met, but I'm here. That's not a way to live. Do not let PMDD rob you of having freedom to be yourself in your PMDD relationship. Go get those private sessions so we can start working together so where you can get to a place where you know that you're free to be yourself and that's okay. You don't have to make excuses. You don't have to pretend. You can be free while you're in your PMDD relationship. We got this. I hope these PMDD trauma transformational tools in this episode today helped you and your PMDD partner. If you're listening to this and you know that you need help further, you need customized PMDD relationship advice, go to inlovewithpmdd.com, get those counseling sessions. And until next episode, we got this. I love you.